Welcome back to the Motivated Mind Zone. Glad to have you here.
Great to be back. So, today we're diving into something I think almost every language learner hits eventually.
That moment, right,
Mm,
where you've spent, I don't know, years maybe hitting the books, you know the grammar, you've got the vocabulary lists down.
exactly. You feel pretty confident. But then you meet a real native speaker, you try to have a chat, and suddenly it's like, whoa.
It's just different. You feel completely lost. The conversation's moving way too fast. It doesn't follow the rules you learned.
And you realize the English from the classroom feels, I don't know, almost like a different language sometimes.
Yeah, totally. It's faster, words seem to blur together, and they're using all these little phrases and ways of talking that were just missing from the textbook.
And that gap, right, between knowing the rules and actually sounding natural in a real conversation, that's where the magic happens. Or maybe the frustration for learners.
Definitely frustration, at first anyway.
Right. Because the goal isn't really about having absolutely perfect grammar or this massive academic vocabulary. It's more about tapping into what we could call a whole world of little things.
Little things, like what?
Well, it's the rhythm of how people speak, the little ups and downs in their voice intonation, how they use pauses or fillers like and
Okay, so not just accents.
Not just accents,
Mm.
no. It's about sounding comfortable, clear, making that connection. It's about clarity and flow, not necessarily copying someone else's accent perfectly.
Gotcha. So that's what this deep dive is all about then, bridging that gap.
Exactly. We want to break down that difference, give you the tools, the insights to move from that, let's say, structured academic English towards something that feels more comfortable, more approachable, more natural.
Okay, sounds good. So what's the plan? How are we going to tackle this?
We'll break it down. First, we'll look at the real basics, how people actually start and end conversations, greetings, goodbyes, small talk,
Yeah.
the everyday stuff.
Right, the architecture of casual chat.
Precisely. Then we'll get into the music of it, the rhythm, how words connect and blend together, which is often a huge hurdle.
Oh yeah, the connected speech thing, that's tough.
Definitely. Then we'll uncover some of that secret code, the fillers, common slang, those everyday phrases that textbooks often miss.
The things like, you know, or like.
Exactly. And how they're actually useful. Then, crucially, we'll talk about how to stop translating in your head, that internal shift.
Ah, the translation trap. That slows everything down.
Massively. And finally, we'll touch on the confidence factor and a bit about cultural connection too, because how you feel about speaking is just as important.
Okay, brilliant. Sounds like a comprehensive plan. Ready to shift from homework English to real-world conversation.
Let's do it. Let's dive in.
Okay, so, section 1. Starting a conversation. The very first words you say can kind of set the tone, right? Formal or casual.
Absolutely. And this is probably the first place where textbook English often leads learners astray. That classic exchange.
Hello, how are you?
I am fine, thank you. And you?
Yeah, that one. It feels so robotic.
It does. It's not just stiff. It actually sounds quite formal in most everyday situations. Like, if a stranger came up to me and said that very formally, I'd be a little wary.
Right. You'd think they were about to ask for directions or maybe sell you something. It takes effort, too much effort for just a casual hello.
Exactly that, the social effort. With friends, it's much, much simpler. What do you usually say?
Oh, just, hey, how's it going? Or, hey,
Yeah.
what's up? Something really quick.
Yeah, low stakes, easy. And sometimes, honestly, even less than that. If you're just passing someone you know, like a neighbor or in a quiet office.
A nod, a little smile.
Or just a quiet morning. It's just acknowledging them, right? Not a full check-in on their current state of health.
Okay, so that's friends or people you see all the time. What about, say, a work colleague you don't know that well, or someone you bump into at an event? A bit more than just, hey.
Yeah, you probably want something slightly warmer, but still casual. We tend to use phrases that check in on their day, kind of generally.
Like, hey, how's your day going?
Perfect. Or the super common, slightly vague one, how are things? It's friendly, it opens the door, but it's not that stiff. How are you?
Right, much more
Oh.
common than the textbook version.
Yeah.
Now, we absolutely have to talk about the British one that confuses everyone.
Ah, yes, you all right. Or the even shorter all right.
Yeah. Learners hear that and panic. They think, oh no, do I look sick? Is something wrong with me?
Ah, yeah, it's a total curveball
Yeah.
because it sounds like a question about your well-being, but it's not. Functionally, it just means hello.
It's just a greeting.
Pretty much. It's like a very quick, efficient way of saying, hi, how are you, all in one go. The expected answer isn't a list of your problems.
So what do you say back?
Just something brief and positive, yeah, you, or all right, thanks, or not bad, that's it. You just sort of volley it back.
Okay, so the key is realizing it's about social efficiency, not literal meaning. Got it. So you've started the chat. How about ending it naturally, moving past just goodbye?
Yeah, goodbye can feel a bit final, a bit abrupt in casual chats. We often use phrases that point to the future or give a slight reason for leaving.
Like,
Catch you later. That's a classic. Or gotta run, implying you have something else to do. Or just a simple, warm take care.
notice how they're not just closing statements. They kind of keep the connection going or explain the departure. Gotta run makes it feel less like you're just abandoning the conversation.
Exactly. It softens the exit. Okay, so we've got beginnings and endings. What about the stuff in the middle? Small talk.
Ah, yes. The oil that keeps the conversation flowing, as the outline put it. I like that analogy.
Me too, because it's true, isn't it? Small talk is what you use when there isn't necessarily anything urgent or important to discuss, but you want to maintain that connection, that comfort level.
It fills the silence comfortably. So what are the go-to topics?
Well, the absolute classic, universally safe one is the weather.
It's like rain later, or a bit chilly today, isn't it?
Yep, can't
That-
go wrong. Or, especially towards the end of the week, weekend plans.
Got anything nice planned for the weekend? Or any plans? Always a good one.
Definitely. Even just simple observations about the immediate surroundings work. Wow, this coffee smells amazing. Or, place is packed today, huh?
Low stakes, easy to respond to. They just invite a quick, agreeable comment back.
And the answers to these questions, especially the initial how are you type questions, need to be casual too. If someone asks, how's it going? You don't usually launch into a detailed report.
Right. Keep it brief. Good, thanks.
Yeah.
Not bad. Maybe pretty busy.
Or if you're feeling a bit overwhelmed, maybe a slightly honest, just surviving.
Yeah, I've used that one. And what about when someone asks, what's new? Or what have you been up to? And honestly, nothing much has happened.
That's where that brilliant little phrase comes in. Same old, same old.
Love that one. It just perfectly says, things are fine, but boringly normal. No news to report.
Exactly. It's a social shortcut. Signals everything's okay without needing a dull story.
Okay, but to keep the conversation really flowing, especially after the initial greetings and small talk, we need more than just short answers. The questions we ask are key. Open questions.
Absolutely crucial. Moving beyond questions that just need a yes or no. So instead of, did you have a good weekend? Which might just get a, yeah.
Ask, what did you do last weekend?
Yeah.
That forces a story, well, hopefully.
Exactly. It requires a narrative. Other good ones are things like, how did that presentation go? Or maybe, what are you working on at the moment?
Or if you're meeting someone new, what brings you here today? Or how did you get into their job hobby?
Right. These questions invite sharing. And just a quick point here, make sure they're genuinely open, not leading questions.
What's the difference?
Well, an open question is, what did you think of the meeting? A leading question is more like, wasn't that meeting really long and boring? See how the second one pushes for agreement?
Yeah. It puts pressure on the answer. So, stick to genuinely curious, open questions. Good tip. What about joining a conversation that's already happening? You can't just jump in.
No, definitely not. You got to listen first, tune in, figure out the topic. Then, a good way in is often an open, curious question that shows you were listening.
Like, sorry to interrupt, but that sounds really interesting. What were you guys just talking about?
Perfect. It's polite, shows interest, and invites them to include you.
And underpinning all of this, the gratings, the small talk, the questions, is the nonverbal stuff.
Hugely important. If you're using these simple phrases, but you're also smiling, making eye contact, looking relaxed,
Yeah.
it makes a massive difference.
Yeah, that approachability factor can smooth over any little language bumps. A smile goes a long way.
It really does. Okay, so that's the basic structure. Shall we move on to how it actually sounds, the music of it?
Let's do it. Section 2.
All right, section 2. This is where we get into the real sound of natural English. It's less about individual words on a page and more like a flowing song.
That's a great way to put it. It has a distinct melody and rhythm. And this is often the biggest challenge for learners because it's so different from how they might have learned the words in isolation. Before we dive in, though, let's just quickly revisit that point about accents. People worry so much about sounding American or British or whatever.
They really do. And it's important to stress again. The goal here isn't to erase your own accent or perfectly mimic a specific native one. Think about it. Native speakers themselves have hundreds of different accents.
Yeah, someone from London sounds totally different from someone from Glasgow or Sydney or Texas.
Exactly. So the real aim is clarity and achieving that natural flow. Your accent is part of who you are, part of your personality. Don't feel pressured to eliminate it. Focus on being understood and sounding comfortable.
Okay, good reminder. So that natural flow, where does it come from? You mentioned rhythm.
Yes. English is what we call a stress times language. This is fundamental. Unlike some languages where each syllable gets roughly the same amount of time, in English, some words or syllables are stressed. They're longer, louder, maybe higher pitch, while others are weak, soft, and quick.
Okay, so stressed words are the important ones.
Generally, yes. The content, words, nouns, main verbs, adjectives, adverbs, they carry the core meaning, so we emphasize them. The little words, articles like a and the, prepositions like to, in, at, auxiliary verbs like is, they tend to be unstressed or weak.
Let's use that example from the outline. I want to go to the store. If I say every word equally, I want to go to the store. Sounds like a robot.
Exactly. A native speaker would stress the main meaning words. I want to go to the store. Can you hear the difference? I want go, store, get the beat.
Yeah, definitely. The to and the jung just get swallowed up almost. They're super fast and quiet.
They are. And technically, what often happens to those little unstressed words is that their vowel sound reduces to something called the schwa. It's that weak, neutral sound. Phonetically, it's schwa.
Oh, okay.
It's the most common vowel sound in English. So to becomes tre and the becomes a. They lose their clear oo or e sound. This vowel reduction is a huge part of what creates that English rhythm.
Ah, okay. That explains why those words seem to vanish. It's not just speed, it's the sound actually changing.
Precisely. And this rhythm, this stress and reduction is directly linked to connected speech, which is probably the biggest listening comprehension nightmare for learners.
Because words don't stay separate, they just mush together.
They mush together. Sounds change, sounds disappear, words link up. Let's break down how. First up, the obvious ones, contractions.
Like don't, for do not, I'm for I am, standard stuff.
Right. But in casual speech, it goes further. Going to almost always becomes going.
I go.
Want to becomes wanna.
I want to eat. You hear these constantly. You might be told not to write them in formal essays, but you absolutely have to understand them to follow conversations.
Definitely. But the blending gets even more complex. Remember that phrase, did you eat yet?
Which somehow becomes jeet yet?
Yeah.
How does that happen?
Okay, so the tin sound at the end of did and the Y sound at the beginning of you, they combine. Your tongue moves from the tin position towards the Y position, and that movement creates a J sound, D. It's called coalescence.
Wow. So D plus J equals day. That's wild.
Yeah.
No wonder it's hard to catch.
It happens in other places too, like won't you becoming one chew?
Yeah.
Then their sounds just disappearing.
Elision.
Like the T sound.
The poor T sound gets dropped all the time, especially between consonants. Like in best of all, that middle T often vanishes.
So it sounds like best of all.
Pretty much. Or when a word ends in a consonant and the next word starts with an H, like tell him. The H sound is often weak anyway, and it just disappears.
So tell him I'll call him later because tell him I'll call him later.
You got it. It's not lazy speech. It's efficient articulation. Makes it flow smoother.
Okay. What else? Assimilation. Right. That's where a sound changes slightly to become more like a neighboring sound. The example was 10 bags. The N sound is made with the tongue tip on the alveolar ridge behind your teeth, but the next sound is B, made with the lips.
Okay.
So to make it easier, the N sound might shift its position slightly, becoming more like an M sound M, which is also made with the lips. So 10 bags can sound a bit like 10 bags. It just smooths the transition.
Subtle, but it contributes to that overall blended sound. And then there's linking.
Linking is fundamental. Joining the end of one word smoothly to the beginning of the next. The most common is consonant to vowel linking.
Like pick it up because pike it up.
Exactly. The K at the end of pick then links to the I. The T at the end of it links to the U. No gaps. It happens with consonant to consonant sounds too, though sometimes it's more subtle, like turn off.
Turn off, yeah, it flows.
And simple shortening. Give me almost always becomes give me. Let me becomes lemmy.
Okay, so reduction, schwa,
Hmm.
coalescence, yet, elision, dropping th, assimilation, 10 bags, linking, pick it up, shortening, gimme. That's a lot going on.
It is. But understanding these processes helps you decode what you're hearing. You start to expect words to blend.
And how do you practice actually doing it?
The best technique is shadowing.
Shadowing, like being a spy.
Kind of. You listen to a short clip of a native speaker, maybe a podcast, an audiobook, a movie scene, and you repeat exactly what they say right after them. Try to copy everything. The rhythm, the stress, the linked sounds, the intonation.
So you're mimicking their music.
Precisely. It trains your mouth muscles and your ear simultaneously. Practice those tricky blended phrases. Give me a break. Did you get it? What you want to do. Repeat them until they feel natural.
Okay, that makes sense. One last piece of the music. Intonation. The pitch.
Right, how your voice goes up and down. It carries a lot of meaning. The basic patterns are, for yes-no questions, the pitch usually rises at the end.
Are you coming up?
Exactly. But for information questions, who, what, where, when, why, how, the pitch usually falls at the end.
Where are you going? V down.
Yep. That falling tone signals you expect a detailed answer, not just a yes or no. Getting these basic tunes right makes a huge difference in how understandable and confident you sound.
Cool. So rhythm, connected speech, intonation. That's the engine running underneath the words.
That's the music of English.
All right, section 3. Now we get into the stuff that definitely isn't in the standard textbooks. The secret code fillers, slang, those everyday phrases native speakers use constantly, starting with fillers.
Fillers. They get such a bad rap, don't they? Lots of language teachers tell students to avoid them, that they sound unprofessional or hesitant.
Yeah, I remember being told they're bad habits.
Well, here's the secret. They're not just, they're actually a vital part of sounding natural and relaxed in conversation. They serve real functions.
Like what? Other than just stalling?
Well, stalling is one function. They buy you thinking time. But more importantly, they signal to the listener, hold on, I haven't finished my thought yet. I'm just processing.
Yeah.
It manages the turn-taking in a conversation.
Ah, okay. So it stops someone else jumping in too quickly.
Exactly. And think about it. A conversation completely without fillers would sound weird, almost robotic or overly rehearsed. Native speakers use them all the time. Actually, basically even just little sounds like or ah.
And you mentioned like and you know.
Yeah.
They seem particularly common. They do different things.
They can do, and are mostly just straightforward hesitation markers. Like, is incredibly versatile. It can be a filler, yeah, but also a hedge to soften something. I was like, okay. An approximator, there were like 20 people there, or even introducing a quote or internal thought. And I was like, what?
Okay, it does a lot of jobs. And,
often works to check if the listener's following or to appeal to shared knowledge or experience. It's just really frustrating, It builds connection.
Let's try that contrast example. Describing a weekend without fillers. Saturday, I woke up, I ate breakfast, I went to the park.
Sounds like a police report. Very factual, but cold.
Now with fillers. So, Saturday, Well, I woke up and I had some breakfast. And then, I actually decided it was nice out, so I went to the park.
See, the second one sounds much more human, more relatable. The fillers make it sound like someone recalling events naturally, thinking as they speak.
It sounds less definite, which brings us to hedging phrases.
Exactly. Things like kind of, sort of, I guess, maybe, perhaps. We use these all the time to soften our statements, especially opinions. It makes us sound less direct, less assertive.
So instead of saying, that movie was boring, you might say.
Yeah, it was. Kind of boring, wasn't it? Or I guess I found it a bit slow. It leaves room for disagreement, makes it less confrontational. It's often perceived as more polite in many English-speaking contexts.
That ability to not sound too forceful is a really key social skill, actually.
It really is. Okay, moving on from fillers and hedges to slang.
The fun stuff.
Ah,
But also tricky, right? Because it changes so fast and can be really regional.
totally. So the advice here is generally to stick to the really common, widely understood slang first. Don't try to use super niche or brand new stuff unless you're really sure of the context.
What are some safe bets?
Well, the classics are still around. Cool, awesome. Using dude casually with friends, though maybe less common depending on age region now. No way, as an expression of surprise.
What about chill?
Yeah, chill meaning relax. Just chill out. Or describing something as relaxed, it was a pretty chill evening. And hang out meaning to spend time together socially. Want to hang out this weekend. Those are pretty universal.
Okay, but beyond single words, there are those figurative expressions, the idioms that act like slang shortcuts.
Right, these add real color, like for money.
I'm broke means you have no money.
For describing something positively.
That's sick,
Okay.
meaning amazing or cool,
Hmm.
or that's lit
Mm-hmm.
for something really fun or exciting. You hear those a lot, especially from younger people, but sick has been around a while.
How about feeling tired
I'm beat, completely exhausted.
and going to sleep?
I'm hitting the sack or hitting the hay.
And needing to leave quickly.
I got to bounce or I got to take off. Those definitely sound more natural than I must depart now.
Uh-huh, absolutely. I gotta bounce is perfect.
Oh,
It uses the contraction gotta, and the slang term bounce. Textbook example of natural speech.
But what about that regional thing? Say a learner hears people in, I don't know, Boston saying wicked
Hmm.
for really good. Should
Mm.
they just start using it?
Oh, good question. That's where context sensitivity is key. My advice. Observe first. Who is using that word? Who are they using it with? Is it only people of a certain age from that specific place talking to each other?
Okay.
If yes, it might be safer to just understand it, but maybe not use it yourself initially. Using hyper-regional or group-specific slang can sometimes sound a bit off, like you're trying too hard or even appropriating it. Stick to the widely understood stuff like cool or awesome until you feel really comfortable with the local nuances.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Better safe than sorry. Okay, last part of the secret code. Those everyday phrases that just glue conversations together.
The conversational signposts, things like
You know what I mean? To check understanding.
at the end of the day, meaning ultimately, or the most important point is,
By the way, to change the subject smoothly.
long story short, to give the conclusion without all the details, these are like navigational tools for the conversation.
And starting sentences in a way that sounds authentic.
Using things like to be honest,
Mhm.
honestly, or actually can signal sincerity or introduce a slightly unexpected point, makes it sound less like you're just reciting facts.
Right, and giving opinions politely. We mentioned hedging, but specific phrases.
Yeah, starting with something like, I'm not sure, but I think, or I could be wrong, but it seems like.
Yeah.
Again, shows you're open to discussion, not just stating dogma. It values collaboration.
So fillers, hedges, common slang, conversational phrases. It's a whole layer of language beyond just words and grammar.
It's the texture of real conversation.
Okay, we've talked a lot about the external stuff, what you say, how you sound. But Section 4 tackles something internal, the way you think. Specifically, getting out of the translation trap.
Ah, yes. This is huge. So many learners experience this. They hear something in English, their brain instantly translates it into their native language. They figure out the answer there, then translate that answer back into English before finally speaking.
And the result is slow, halting speech,
Yeah.
right? With lots of pauses while your brain does all that work.
Exactly. It's incredibly inefficient. Your brain is juggling 3 tasks instead of 1. It drains mental energy and makes fluency almost impossible. The goal has to be to cut out the middleman to train your brain to think directly in English.
Easier said than done, though. How do you actually make that shift?
It takes conscious effort and practice. The foundation is immersion. Surround yourself with English as much as possible.
Music, TV shows, movies, podcasts like this one. Reading articles, books.
Whatever you enjoy. Make English input a daily habit, even if it's just for 15-20 minutes. The more your brain hears and sees English used naturally, the more it starts to make direct connections without needing the translation detour.
Okay, so passive input helps. What about active practice for thinking?
The simplest, most accessible technique is using an internal monologue. Talk to yourself in English, silently, in your head.
Narrate your own life.
Pretty much. As you're doing everyday things. Okay, I'm making coffee now, need to find the filter. Ah, there it is, water's boiling. Simple sentences describing your actions or thoughts?
Doesn't matter if it's basic.
Not at all. The point is to practice forming thoughts directly in English, bypassing your native language. You can also do observation practice.
What's that?
When you're out and about, consciously look around and name things or describe what you see, again, directly in English in your head. That's a big dog. The bus is late. Those flowers are yellow. It forces that immediate word-object association.
Okay, internal monologue, observation practice. Anything else?
Something I found really useful myself is documentation. Keep a small notebook or a note on your phone. When you're in a conversation and you get stuck, you desperately want to say something but can't find the word or phrase fast enough, jot it down later.
The thing you wanted to say.
Exactly, the gap you experienced. Then look it up. Find out how you should have said it. Practice that specific phrase or sentence. This targets your personal, active vocabulary needs.
That's smart. You're fixing your own specific problems. Now, what happens when you're in the conversation and a word just vanishes from your brain? Happens to native speakers, too.
All the time. The key is not to panic and freeze. Use paraphrasing.
Describe the word you can't remember.
Exactly. Use simpler language you do know to explain the concept. This keeps the conversation flowing and honestly shows quite a high level of fluency, the ability to work around vocabulary gaps.
So the example was forgetting the word scissors. You'd say.
You know, the thing you use. For cutting paper. Someone will probably supply the word scissors for you, but the conversation didn't grind to a halt.
And for a more abstract word like procrastination.
You'd describe the behavior. It's that feeling when, you have something important to do, but you just keep putting it off, doing other less important stuff instead.
Okay, so describing the concept, that's a really useful skill. Keeps things moving.
Definitely. Another way to keep things moving and buy yourself thinking time is to have some instant response phrases ready to go.
Verbal reflexes, like what?
Short, simple phrases you can say almost automatically to show you're engaged, even if you need a second to process what was just said. Things like,
Really?
no way, seriously.
That's cool. Sounds good. Wow.
I see. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Right. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Exactly. These little responses are crucial. They show you're listening, they keep the conversational energy up, and they give your brain a tiny buffer. If someone tells you some big news, just saying, wow, seriously, gives you a moment.
And even just nodding and saying, mm-hmm, or yeah, while someone's talking makes a big difference. Shows you're tracking. Absolutely. Active listening signals. Now, what if you do get properly stuck mid-sentence? Word completely gone.
Don't panic.
Rule number 1. It's okay. You can use a filler like or to pause naturally. Or you can just be honest. Say something like, oh, wait, what's the word? Or, sorry, I can't remember the word for it. Or even ask directly, how do you say? People are usually happy to help.
That's reassuring. The main thing for this whole section seems to be about keeping the flow going and not letting translation or forgotten words stop you dead.
Precisely. And one final crucial point here. Focus on speaking clearly rather than speaking fast. Learners sometimes think sounding natural means speaking at lightning speed.
But if no one can understand you?
Then it doesn't matter how fast you are. Aim for clarity. Use simpler sentences if needed. Getting your message across effectively is always, always better than rushing and being unclear.
Clarity over speed. Got it. Okay, final section.
Okay.
Section 5. We've covered the mechanics, the sounds, the phrases, the thinking, but none of it works without the final piece: confidence and understanding the cultural side of things.
This is so fundamental. You can know all the rules, practice all the techniques, but if you're terrified of opening your mouth because you might make a mistake or sound, well, silly.
Then you just won't speak. Or you'll speak so hesitantly that it undermines everything else. That fear of sounding stupid is huge for learners.
It really is. And the first step is to try and normalize it. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone. Native speakers misspeak, stumble over words, use wrong grammar sometimes. It happens. Mistakes are just part of communication. They're how we learn. They're not failures.
So easier said than done, but try not to beat yourself up over errors.
Exactly. See them as data points. Okay, I used the wrong preposition there. I'll try to remember next time. Not, oh my God, I'm terrible at English.
How can you actively build that confidence then if you're feeling really anxious?
Find safe spaces to practice where the stakes feel low. Maybe a language exchange partner who's also learning so you both understand the struggle. Or, honestly, just talking to yourself.
Practicing out loud when you're alone.
Yes. Get used to the sound of your own voice speaking English. And here's a technique people often resist, but it's surprisingly powerful. Record yourself speaking.
Oh, yeah. Most people hate hearing their own voice.
I know, but try it. Record yourself talking for a minute or two, maybe summarizing an article or just talking about your day. Then listen back. Often, you'll realize you actually sound much better, much clearer than that critical voice inside your head tells you. It can be a real confidence booster.
It's interesting. Objective evidence against your own self-criticism.
Right. Also, set small, achievable goals. Don't aim for perfect fluency by next month. Aim for, this week, I will try to use 3 of those new phrases we talked about in a real conversation.
And when you do it, acknowledge it. Give yourself a little credit.
Absolutely. Celebrate those small wins. They build momentum. And never underestimate the power of attitude. Before you speak, especially if you're nervous, take a breath. Maybe even consciously smile a little. Projecting confidence, even if you don't fully feel it initially, makes people respond to you more positively.
Fake it till you make it. A little bit.
To an extent, yes, confidence is attractive. It makes people want to listen and engage.
Okay, so confidence is key. What about the beyond words part, body language and culture?
Crucial. Communication is so much more than just the sounds you make. Your body language speaks volumes.
So things like eye contact.
Definitely. In many English-speaking cultures, making reasonable eye contact shows you're engaged and honest. Not staring intensely, but not avoiding eyes either. Smiling, as we said, signals friendliness.
Using your hands when you talk. Does that help?
It can add energy and emphasis, make you seem more dynamic. And when you're listening, show you're listening.
Nodding. Making those little verbal sounds.
Yeah, nodding gently, saying, uh-huh, I see, right. It tells the speaker you're following along and you're interested. It's active listening.
Okay. And cultural differences. This can be a minefield.
It can feel like it. Things like personal space, how close people stand, vary a lot. Greetings, too, is it a handshake? A hug? Just a wave? There's no single rule.
So what's the strategy?
Observe and adapt. Watch how other people in that specific situation are interacting. Follow their lead. If everyone's shaking hands, offer your hand. If people are keeping a bit more distance, respect that space. Be observant.
Good advice. What about humor? Teasing seems common in some English-speaking cultures.
Very common, especially in places like the UK, Ireland, Australia. Friendly teasing, making gentle fun of each other, is often a sign of affection or inclusion. It means they feel comfortable with you.
So if someone teases you a bit, don't take it too personally.
Generally, no. If it feels genuinely mean, that's different. But lighthearted teasing is often a way of building rapport. And linked to that, being able to laugh at yourself if you do make a mistake is a great quality.
Like that example of the person asking for a chicken sand.
Exactly. Instead of being mortified, if they could laugh and say, oops, I meant sandwich, it turns a potential moment of embarrassment into a shared, funny, human moment. Makes you more likable.
Okay, last point then.
Mm-hmm.
Politeness. Seems obvious, but maybe worth stressing.
Always worth stressing. The basics. Please and thank you. Use them liberally. They cost nothing and make a huge difference.
And making requests. You mentioned soft language earlier.
Yes. Direct demands like give me the report sound very demanding, even rude in most contexts. You need to soften it.
Using words like could or would.
Precisely. Could you possibly send me that report when you have a moment? Or would you mind if I borrowed your pen? Using modals like could, would, may, might, adding, please, maybe adding a reason, these all soften the request,
Makes it sound less like an order and more like a polite request.
which is key for smooth interactions. And finally, compliments. They're pretty common too, right?
Yeah, simple things like nice shirt or good job on the presentation.
And the standard response is just simple and gracious.
Thank you. Or thanks, I appreciate that.
Yep. No need for elaborate deflections. Just accept it politely. It's all part of the social oil, keeping things friendly and positive.
So confidence, body language, cultural awareness, politeness, it all adds up to making real connections.
That's the ultimate goal, isn't it? Using the language to connect with people. #outro.
Wow. Okay, that was a really comprehensive deep dive into sounding natural. We covered a huge amount of ground.
We really did. From those initial greetings and small talk, ditching the formal stuff for things like, how's it going? Or, you all right?
Yeah, then getting into the weeds of the actual sound, the rhythm, the schwa, how words crash together in connected speech like gonna or jeet yet.
Understanding that music is so important for both listening and speaking. Then we cracked the secret code, realizing fillers like, and like are actually useful, navigating common slang, using those everyday phrases.
And tackling that internal battle, how to stop translating in your head, using paraphrasing, having those instant responses ready.
And finally, tying it all together with confidence, body language, and that crucial cultural awareness.
The big takeaway for me listening to all this is really reinforcing that main point. It's not about perfection, it's about connection.
Absolutely. Language is a tool for sharing ideas, making friends, understanding each other. Being perfectly grammatical is secondary to being clear, confident, and connected. Every conversation is just practice, a chance to learn a little bit more.
So, to leave everyone listening with something to think about. A final provocative thought, maybe.
Okay, how about this? Think back over all the specific techniques we discussed today. The connected speech shortcuts, like gonna or wanna. The way sounds disappear, like the teen in best of all. The use of fillers, which one of those feels the most unnatural or maybe the most intimidating for you to try using yourself?
Okay, so identify your personal scary technique.
Exactly. And here's the challenge. The very next time you watch an English movie or listen to a song or a podcast,
Yeah.
actively listen just for that one specific thing.
Tune your ear into just that pattern.
Yes. Notice how often native speakers actually use it. See how natural it sounds when they do it. Just paying attention to it, noticing it in real contexts, is the first step towards demystifying it. And maybe, just maybe, feeling comfortable enough to try it yourself down the line.
That's a great challenge. Awareness first. Okay, brilliant. Well, keep practicing, keep listening, keep connecting, and keep growing. Thanks for joining us on the Motivated Mind Zone.